I think it's really important that you give yourself the space to really, process all the emotional content around those things. Making sure to journal from different angles too. Because I think that happens especially in relationships a lot, where it's like, well, I know I'm really angry at this person because of what they did, but I might not be as aware of my disappointment, or I might not be as aware of like the sense of hopelessness that I created around that. Another good reason to make sure that we've processed all the past stuff to the best of our ability, because a lot of times what happens is we keep score in our relationships. Is the way I like to say it. And we keep this running list in the background of everything this person's done wrong that we never were able to say to them for any numbers of reasons. And so one of the most helpful things we can do for ourselves is to make sure that every time we step into that relationship in the moment, we're not carrying everything from the past with us, because it makes us way more, easily triggered, and really can, cause a lot of problems for us in trying to adjust the relationship now if we haven't processed all that stuff from the past. Part of what gets in our way when it comes to relationships is we might be doing all this work on ourselves and the people around us might not. And so it starts to create this sense of responsibility or futility of like, I'm carrying the burden of this whole relationship, and it really is a two-person job. So what is the point of me doing all this work when they're just running the same old pattern? And that is, it's really important to acknowledge that and your feelings around that too, because it's not false. It is really hard to navigate trying to change relationships that are already hurtful or already not going so well. So, acknowledge the pressure that creates for you, but also giving yourself that sense of hope and confidence that when I change things on the inside for me, that changes my environment. It may take time to show up, and it may show up in different ways. That relationship may change, or it may dissipate, or different things can happen, but there absolutely always is room for change to happen. And the more I work on my relationship with myself, the better my relationships with everyone else will be. The one other thing I wanted to say too is that when it comes to changing our relationship styles or changing patterns that we have in relationships with other people, I think one of the hardest things we can set out to do is to start by changing in that relationship. And that one of the most valuable things we can do for ourselves is to find out what needs to change, like whether it's I need to be better at setting boundaries, or I need to be better at being vulnerable, or whatever the tweak is that needs to happen in relationship with this person. Find someone who you haven't known as long, or aren't as enmeshed with, or who you don't have a problematic relationship with, and try practicing those new ways of being in those relationships first, where it's not so much pressure, or where you're not going to necessarily get so much backlash, or whatever it is. Give yourself a safe kind of playground to try some of these things on. And when you get good results from doing that, it'll help to build your confidence to be able to bring that to those challenging relationships as well.